So, hello, Mr. Christopher Kraft. I am very happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a long time coming. I'm happy to do this.
It has been. So first off, you're the founder of Now Media. Is that how you call it?
Yep, now media and consulting. That's right.
Cool. And I guess the reason why we're talking now is that you are the author of the new book, O.P.E.N Routine.
Yes, really, really excited. Open Routine is, I have two kids, so now I have three. It feels like, honestly, the first, I always hear the first book is the hardest to get out, and it was definitely a challenge. We have a newborn that came along while the book was being finished, and but I'm really happy with the product, and I think it's going to do some great things for people. I wanted to get it in as many people's hands so they can better their lives and excel in their careers.
Cool, cool. And I mean, I guess I was reading the book, obviously, and you say it's something that you've been kind of practicing for a while now. Your open routine. So I'm guessing maybe the first thing would be to kind of present what that really means or what that is.
Sure. What's funny about the open routine is that it's a lot of trial and error for people who are self-starters. For people who like to go out and just put forth action, there's some bumps and bruises, but through those bumps and bruises and through the trial and error, I've been able to realize what works and what doesn't work. And that what those lessons and the exercises that I put myself through is comprised the open routine. So the open routine, open, the acronym stands for opportunity, passion, education, and networking. And I made a really, really crucial choice while I was finishing up at Georgia Tech that I wanted to take the hard way into entrepreneurship. I didn't want to go work a 9 to 5 job, save up money, and lose crucial time. But I figured out that there's education outside of school, and through those bumps and bruises outside of college, it's enabled me to put this routine together. And I can say I've been living it since 2002, and I think I've perfected it. I would say 2010, I perfected it. And now I'm about to be 3 years in into really putting the open routine into practice. And it's the right time to debut to the world because I really believe it works.
Nice, perfect. So, I mean, I guess we should also say that you're not kind of just anybody. I mean, you've been kind of working at it for a while. You've had a few different businesses, and you
Thanks.
actually have a very varied background. I mean, would you like to talk about that a bit?
Yes. First business that I started out of college was a record label, Shaman Work Recordings. We got a distribution deal with Groovatech, a really, really cool company in Germany. They approached me because I was managing an artist and they saw how good of a job I was doing with the artist. And they were like, Chris, you ever thought about putting out your own music? I'm like, yeah, I have. So the distribution deal for our music fell into our lap. Now, from that deal, it turned into a trip to France to the Meetum conference, and I left the conference with about 7 new deals, namely a deal with Koch, which is E1 now, I believe, a Canadian company.
Nice,
Um,
yes.
so that was my first foray into entrepreneurship um, with a record label, and I learned so much about not only corporate dealings but also the street side of the entertainment industry. And I carry that over in obviously into what we do with Navy and Consulting, since we focus on the digital marketing side of sports and entertainment. But in between the two, I dabbled in other things. Real estate holdings, a smoothie bar, some smart decisions, a lot of dumb decisions. But like I mentioned earlier, it was those dumb decisions and the lessons learned that came into play when coming up with the open routine.
Cool. So I know you've talked about it a bit, and let's talk about the book a little more. How would you describe the book itself, and kind of maybe you can talk about each element of that open routine just a little bit. I mean, we don't want to scoop anything. We want people to buy this book, but let us know why we should get it.
Well, I went in, and when I first completed the book, I sent it to two mentors who I really respect. The first being Mark Schaefer, the author of Return on Influence, and the second being Jay Baer, the author of The Now Revolution and the head guy over at Convince and Convert. And I really like what Mark took away from it. He says it's not a theory, which is true because I actually lived it and I documented it over years and put it into practice and kind of chiseled the routine to where it's able to be digested by the reader and put into practice. The second thing he says that is actionable. I made a point in every chapter when I step through the open routine. I'll go through some of it, but I made a point in every chapter to create a list of actions that you can step through to actually get you away from the book and into action, which I really believe is important. And I broke up the book into 4 really specific chapters, the first being opportunity. Well, first, let me go before the first chapter. There's a section called for self-starters. Mm-hmm. So I kind of start the book off letting you know that, hey, even after you read this first section, before you get into the actual components of the open routine, the main thing is action. So that's the first thing I want to drive through to the reader. So in each chapter, I end with not only more action steps, but more suggested reading for when people finish the book, they can go and find what inspired me throughout my study and throughout my research and putting together the open routine. So
let me just thank you for completely expanding the number of books I have to read, by the way.
My buddy said, "Oh, Chris, did the guys pay you to put their books inside your book?" I'm like, "No, they didn't. In fact, there were only a couple authors who I know personally that I put into the book, but I feel those books really shaped me as an entrepreneur and as a marketer. So I felt that it was only right for me to share that with the reader." So did you want me to go through each component?
I would love it if you could.
All right. So the O, is opportunity. And what I would say that the major takeaway from opportunity is not only right place, right time, but making sure that you're out there a lot. One of the main opportunities I talk about is the wild card opportunity. And it's the opportunity that a lot of people have access to. And what's important about that is that it's one of those things that you think is an accident. So you're standing in line at the grocery store. You buy, I don't know, Fast Company magazine. The person that's standing behind you sees that you're purchasing Fast Company. Oh, most people who are standing in the grocery store line, they're buying tabloids. So the person that sees you reading Fast Company says, "Hey, what's your line of work? What's your industry?" "Oh, I'm in marketing. I'm in sales. I'm in web design." "No way. I need a site design for my new venture that I'm putting in." So those are the wild card opportunities. And they come about, they seem like accidents, but they're really not. They're meant to be. And then the next type of opportunity I talk about is the snowball opportunity, which usually starts with a wild card opportunity, an opportunity that's small but kind of grows into a big thing. And my example for that was when we work with our main anchor client, Bomani Jones. It started out as a web design gig, but now it's grown into speaking engagements that we booked for him. It's grown into branding. It's gone into digital strategy. So that's what I talk a lot about opportunity, and I end it with when to say no, because when you get to a certain point, opportunities start to stack. Then you kind of need to become more careful on what you put on your plate, so that you can do fair justice to the opportunities that you already have on your plate that you've committed yourself to. So it's kind of like a curating process, a filtering process that you need to put yourself through. Now, the next chapter is passion, and it really starts not only with action, but it does start with passion, because passion is something that you can discover early in your childhood, and hopefully you have the support system in parents, grandparents, teachers, instructors that support and help you cultivate your passion. But open sounds a whole lot better than POEN. So I figured that I will start with the opportunity because it rings a little bit better as far as the acronym. But when I talk about passion, it's really about really what deep down feels right. And what you talk a lot about inertia on your blog. What, with the least amount of inertia, do you feel is the right thing that you should be doing in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Starting there and then building the rest of the open routine around that, making sure that based on your passion, you're studying the right things in college education. Based on your passion, you're in place for the right opportunities. Opportunity. Based on your passion, that you're joining the correct communities on Google Plus, the right groups on LinkedIn, and the right groups on Facebook, as far as social networking, to make sure that you support your passion with the people that you surround yourself with. So the next thing is education, and I'm really careful in the education part to not downplay structured education. Anything past high school, I think everyone needs a high school diploma at this point. But I also talk about the importance of when you go to college, don't just go to college to get your diploma. Don't just go to grad school to get your PhD or your master's. Actually cultivate your passion in what you study. And I talk about my mistake in the book, where I basically followed scholarship money when I went to school. I went into engineering. 2 or 3 years in engineering, I figured, gee whiz, I think I'm just doing this because I'm getting money to go to school. I really want to be in the marketing. I really want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Now, luckily, I came into college with some connections, so I was able to kind of, feed that hunger while in school. But a lot of people leave school after 4 or 5 or 6 years unfulfilled. So that's the important part of education, is that you actually use education to cultivate and grow your passion. And then I go into what happens after you leave school, because a lot of people will tell you what you actually learn in the school you can't apply in the real world. So education continues, and that pursuit of knowledge must continue after school, right?
Right.
Then I also talk about once you become comfortable. I talk a lot about the 10,000 hour rule and becoming a samurai at a certain point. And once you become comfortable to where your passion that's cultivated by education and becomes second nature, kind of completing the cycle and teaching others and building your brand up by being a maker of other people who are doing important things. And I find that's very important, being an entrepreneur and having to hire. I don't have to go out and find a rock star person. I take, pride, and I seek pleasure in building up other people who I see something in, that they have a drive as well, and they just want to learn. I think that's the most important thing. Finding people who like to tinker, who like to learn things, and kind of, carry it out from there. And then that's actually the shortest shortest chapter in the book. I think I hit it on. I'm not killing trees in that part of the book. But my ultimate favorite part of the book is networking, doing exactly what we're doing now. I think I found out about you through it might have been a tweet that Julian Smith put out a long time ago,
Could have been,
introducing
I think so.
people to your blog. That's where I really enjoy the open routines, when you get to the part of where you give legs to the three components that build up to it, by networking, by actually taking your passion, taking your know-how, and increasing the number of opportunities that you're able to secure by actually going out and meeting people, shaking hands, going to conferences, in school, meeting people who have likenesses, meeting people who are different, meeting people who can complement your weaknesses, meeting people who can benefit from your strengths. And I think that's the ultimate thing, because there are some brilliant people out there who stay with their passion and their talents within the four walls of not even their work, but also home.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk a lot about that. I talk a lot about working in the community, and really building community as a support system for what you want to accomplish with your brand. So that's the open routine.
Wow, that was impressive. You know what? I have like a million questions to ask you now, so I'm just gonna shoot away at a couple questions, and hopefully it all makes sense. So you talk about routine, like is that like you talk about education, which a lot of people tend to think it's like, well, high school, then college or whatever. Opportunities, it's like, okay, well, I have this great job. So when you talk about routine, do you talk about something that is constantly applicable or constantly recycling or renewing itself, or is it kind of a one-shot deal once you've done everything? That's it.
Definitely not a one-shot deal. And I think that's the reason why I didn't focus too much on social media platforms because they come and go.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to write a book that's timeless. I wanted to
Right.
write a book that you could put down, pick back up when something changes in your career, and it's still relevant several years later.
Right.
So to answer your question, it's not a one-shot deal. It's something that's always evolving, but something that you can always relate to and learn from within the 106 pages of the book. It's a power-packed book, if I may say so
It
myself.
is, and it's a
Yeah.
pretty easy read. Like I was pretty impressed
Yeah.
actually. So let's go back a bit to opportunity. I mean, I think opportunity is something that's very undervalued, or
Yes.
not undervalued, but I think a lot of people don't notice when the opportunity is available. And like I just one example, like right now, I'm a marketing director at a financial consulting or financial marketing firm, and the way that kind of came about is at some point I was just chatting with an acquaintance of mine, and I said, like if my next job, I'd really like to be a marketing director. And turns out that guy was connected to a headhunter. Headhunter was looking for a marketing director. So I mean, sometimes it's also just you have no idea of what would create an opportunity. Like you said, like your example of you're in the supermarket and you're picking up a magazine or whatever the case may be. And my cat is going crazy. Sorry, I don't know if you're hearing him. Um, I think he's not liking this opportunity. Yeah, so I mean, like, so well, like, yeah. So I mean, what was I saying? Yes, I mean, sometimes these opportunities really come out of nowhere. So, is there a way for people to kind of learn how to identify them or capitalize on them a little more, or would you have some advice at that level?
Yes, definitely. Two things. You find out by like reading the biographies of most successful people. One commonality is that they all kept a journal. So I've been keeping a journal for about a year now. And even the minute details that go into what happened in my day, I will write that in my journal at the end of the day. That way, when I go back after a month, I can go and see, wow, that opportunity was created by something that happened 15 days prior to it even coming into fruition, right?
You're right.
So I would say definitely documenting, and which is something that you do already with a blog. So
True. That's
there are
true.
digital means of basically chronicling the ins and outs of the things that you're interested in. The second thing is basically wisdom by going out and find people who have already done it.
Right.
Someone that's gone out and experienced the things that you want to accomplish, a mentor, and basically putting yourself in the position of being an apprentice.
Right.
That way you save yourself so many months, years of trial and error by basically being able to avoid and kind of finding a way to get on the freeway to skip some of the shenanigans and hijinks that you have to and the hoops you have to jump through to get to where you really want to get to.
Right.
So I would say those are the two ways that you can basically optimize your chance of seizing opportunities.
Cool. Hey, do you give me 2 seconds? I'm just gonna go open the door from the cat because I think he's gonna like
Sure.
destroy something.
I'll get a drink of water in the meantime.
Nice. All right.
All right.
Sorry about that. We'll try to edit this part out. No.
It might be cool, you
It
know?
could be cool. Who knows? Maybe we'll have some cat lover that'll have a great contract for everybody.
Exactly.
So, all right. So we talked about opportunity, and I also like that mentor part. That and I was pretty impressed. Like you have some pretty impressive mentors, and you've met some pretty impressive people in your early career, I guess,
Hmm.
because you're still young, because we're the same age, so we're
Yeah.
both still very young. Um, and yeah, so I mean, how would you help tell people what's a mentor to you, and like how does that kind of fit into passion, I guess, so we can transition to that second letter pretty quickly after that.
A mentor to me is someone who will take, it's not even a lot of time, will take a crucial small piece of their time out of their busy schedule, or even I've had a mentor call me while they're on vacation, which was really cool, and I was grateful for that, to help you along the way. And the way that helps with passion is because really a mentor it's so funny that someone that doesn't have any clout can tell you the same thing a mentor will tell you,
Hmm.
but their words sting and they hit a little bit harder. So a 5-minute conversation with a mentor about, hey, Chris, Fabrice, get off your butt. You know what you want to do. Just go do it. That could be enough to kickstart you into a great opportunity. And a real good mentor will know deep down your passion and will know when you're getting away from it. So one example I have of that is that at one point I was talking to Mark Schaefer. I was frustrated about blogging. I was like, Mark, I'm not getting any comments. I'm looking at Google Analytics. I'm not, seeing a lot of traffic. He's like, well, Chris, what are you into? I'm into sports and music. Oh, okay. Well, why aren't you blogging about the marketing side of sports and music? How many blogs are you trying to run at one time? Oh, only three. Only three? That's too much. So that the main thing and the most simple thing that he ever told me was, Chris, write about what you love to where it's easy about writing it and blog, namely your company blog. Because as a consultancy, you are the face of your company, and people will associate Chris Craft's brand with Now Media and Consulting's brand. That was the most like crucial advice, and it sounds so simple, but coming from a mentor, that's all they need to do to kind of be the catalyst to you doing something that will end up being great.
Nice. I mean, I guess we'll transition to that, use that as a transition to the passion, and then, I'll let you close off a bit. Like, we'll not keep people too long. So I was just wondering, like you're talking about mentors and helping you, kind of move forwards. I'm guessing at some point you also kind of need to know what interests you or what you love, and I mean, obviously these mentors
Yes.
can help you. Um, but and passion is something I've been interested for a while now, especially when it comes to passion and work and whatever the case may be. And I found like one big misconception of passion, and let me know, I guess, if you agree. It's that we have a feeling that, oh, I have to be passionate about this one thing, and for example, you just said you love sports and music, and while if I you speak to a lot of people and they're like, well, I'm not really passionate about anything, and I find like they kind of tend to hope and find that one thing that they're passionate about until everything can get started. Um, like what's your experience with that, like that element of passion? I mean, you've then had a lot of different businesses. They've completely different from music to like you were talking about smoothies before and everything. Like how, is that passion changes over time, or is it that you were just kind of looking for something, or what's it all about?
I was looking for something. You know what's funny? I've been involved with music as a performer and a producer since I was in high school. My dad gave me a choice. He's like, Chris, do you want to go to, like a full sail to type school to, and go directly into music production? I'm willing to support you not taking the traditional college route. I'm like, Dad, no, college is the thing to do, which is a decision I don't regret because I met some of my best friends now in college. But when you talk about passion, it's something that you could think about from your early times, something that you just like to do that was natural, something that you would do that will take you out of your comfort zone because it doesn't feel like you're out of your comfort zone. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So when I talk about some of my other ventures, I mentioned in the book that I had gotten away from my passion
Hmm.
because I learned at a certain point that once you get out of school, you need to do whatever you can. That's the smart business decision or the smart monetary or financial decision in order to bring money into your pockets.
Hmm.
So I was like, most successful business people have real estate holdings, rental property or flipping homes. I got into that in 2004. No, it was like 2006, to be honest with you. And my first flip, we started the project in Phoenix, Arizona in 2007. It's a horrible experience. It was ridiculous. Why? Because I was thinking about the green. I was thinking
Right.
about the money and not thinking about what I really loved. And this was while we had the record label, and it honestly hurt my record label because it took attention away from something that I really loved in the first place. Same with the smoothie bar. We opened the smoothie bar while my wife was in residency. We knew that we would be there for a short period of time, in 3 years, for for a physician's residency program. And I thought that it would be a great business opportunity because there was a void of that kind of quick service restaurant or food entity in the area that we were living. So once again, a decision that was made strictly based on trying to make money. I didn't want to become the top smoothie man or ice cream man in South Carolina or in Southeast United States. I wanted it to be, a way for me to earn money and increase my savings. I didn't love what I was doing. So going through that process, it enabled me, and it was education because I would say the good thing is that at each step I learned something. So I learned about property taxes. So when with the real estate stuff, so when we get to the point to where we want to go out and purchase our first building that we own for Now Media and Consulting, and we have studio space and we do production and stuff. Through my real estate experience, I could pick out a nugget, that I learned from there, and I can apply it to what I'm doing now. With the smoothie bar, that was the first time I had to do like mass hiring of people to help run the store. So I learned about the psychology of working with individuals who tick all in a different way, in a different manner, and how to put those people all in one unit that needs to be cohesive. And that has been a great asset to building my team at Now. But the main thing I learned is, Chris, slap myself, stop getting of, which is three things: music, sports, and networking. Boom. It's the three things that I've brought into Now, and I feel that's the three things that can speak to Now's success. So there are two things. The bad, I lost some money, maybe lost 4 or 5 years of good young person's brain power before getting to the Now step. But the great thing is that I wasn't scared, and I'm still not scared to step out there to figure out what not to do, which will enable me to get back to my passion. And I feel like those bumps and bruises really brought me to the point to where I figured out, wow, those things didn't work. I know what to avoid. Now I'm focused. I'm content. I'm waking up happy every day, knowing that I'm in the right place.
Nice. That's awesome. And I like because in the book you mentioned that, and obviously we've never met, but that your wife was like finding her passion really early on there, at age 4. I
four
think she wanted to
years
be
old.
she
Yes.
wanted to be a
Amazing.
physician.
Yes. That's so rare, though. That is
Yeah.
really rare.
No, I know, and I agree, and I mean, but what I find really interesting about your story is that then you're kind of like the flip side, and I think a lot of people who are like, well, I know what I like, but I have to go after the money and build a life for myself or whatever, and they kind of lose track of what their passion is,
Right.
because it's not that flagrant, or maybe it's not as well, your wife's a physician, so that's the path is maybe a little clearer, or whatever the case may be, and sometimes when sometimes your passion and your path, like it's not very clear. So I love that, like, just through trial and error, and I think that's one of the messages that you're trying to put through in the open routine is this trial and error, like that comes with opportunities and education and the networking as well, and how that all ties in together. Does that make sense?
Exactly. It makes total sense. It makes total sense. So, and I don't want people to walk away, with, thinking that, oh, I just live my life and I could kind of come up on my own open routine. I wrote the book so people can save time. And if you read a testimonial,
Mm-hmm.
that's what Jay Bear actually said. He's like, if I would have read this book early in my career, it would have saved me 6 years. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to do for people. I want to save people time. Use the book as a hack to save some
Yeah.
time.
No, I agree, and I think I would agree too. I mean, had I had this book when I graduated, I would have skipped out on a few of those first jobs and skipped right into what I really liked, which was marketing. But I was pretty lucky. So, but we're not going to get into that. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we'll end it soon. Is there anything else that you'd just like to mention that would encourage people to pick up this book?
Yes, definitely. This is the beautiful cover, Open Routine, forward by my great and talented friend, Bomani Jones, great media personality. I would say if you are, it doesn't matter if you're starting out in your career, it doesn't matter if you're 10, 15, 20, 30 years into your career, this book will be a great asset to you and it offers great value. And as you can see, I get to the point. It's not too thick. So it's something that you can pick up and you can read it multiple times a year if you want to, just to keep get you back on track. And I would say, whether you want to order it at openroutine.com or if you want to order it from Amazon, depending on when we post this, it'll be available at both places. I just thank you for the support. Oh, and one more thing about the book. I give you a lot of opportunities to email me or
Hmm.
to join my
Thank
email
you.
list or to tweet me. And I have another interview coming up, and one of the questions that John is going to ask me is like, why do you want to be such in close contact, with your readers and with your fans? It's because I love networking, and that's the bottom line. I love people. I love relationships, and I think that's a testament to what's gone into this book and a driver into why I decided to write it.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Christopher Kraft, and
Thank
your new book, The Open Routine. I enjoyed it. Like I told you offline, it helped me align a couple of my priorities. So thank you very
Great.
much,
Thank you.
and we'll chat soon.
Thank you. Appreciate